excited for this video because I've never done like a swapping my screen time for reading video. I literally feel like this is going to be kind of similar to the 24-hour reading vlog that I did and just give me that feeling of like being a kid again and just like gobbling up a book and not having any other distractions. So it is 7:04. And I'm gonna read this morning. Normally, you guys know I wake up at 5 o'clock to read, but today I woke up at 5 o'clock to work because if I'm gonna be reading some of today, like I had to make sure I got a lot of my work done. So I worked for 2 hours this morning, and then I will obviously be reading some of the audiobooks during the work day because I still like have to work. But I also am gonna like take some time to read because I did a little bit of work this morning. I'm gonna start with Flow. I thought I was gonna finish this book the other day, and whenever I put up the little vlog, which was literally, I put it up yesterday and it went up today. I was reading this book and I was like, oh, this is like so easy, gonna finish it. It is a great book so far. I'm not like super into it, but I'm finding that I will literally put so much in front of reading, like work or just like literally anything. So that's why I love these reading challenges, because it puts me back into that childlike mindset where I'm just like reading and doing nothing, and I'm not like thinking about dishes or laundry or like stuff I have to do, you know? So I'm gonna finish this book. This is literally like not even a super long book, and I just like got so distracted yesterday by like a million other things I need to do. So we're gonna read this and see how many books we can read today, see how much we can just soak up that childlike feeling and swap our screen time for reading and let go of the phone and let go of the television and just like any screens and just really get lost in a good book. It is Thursday, April 20th today, and I am just gonna go back into my screen time for last week. And this was for April 13th. I had 8 hours and 53 minutes just on my phone. And if you guys don't know, I work and do all of my work on my phone. I almost never use my laptop. Like I even edit YouTube videos and like reels, TikToks, like everything on my phone. So some of my screen time is literally crazy. But I wanted to just see like, you know, how like this day would go if I like just swap my screen time for reading. So we have 8 hours and 53 minutes to read today. So I'm gonna go over to my, not calculator, my timer, and here's my morning alarm so you guys can see. And we're just gonna click the stopwatch and do 8 hours and 53 minutes. So let's go.
Maybe I was blind, known you forever while I tried to find someone that could be my great love. Right in front of me, I didn't realize you were my dream, so you took me by surprise.
I've been reading for 5 hours and 22 minutes, and this has been a really fun challenge, but I've realized that I probably shouldn't have picked like a massive book to read. So after I finished Flow, which I finished pretty quickly this morning, this was such a good book. You guys just check out my review on Goodreads, but I will give like a little wrap up at the end of this video. I was really surprised by this book, honestly, because it's so small, but it was really good, and I'll give my rating at the end with like all the books, but very good. I am definitely ordering the rest of the series. They're all kind of this size, and Kennedy Ryan just can literally do no wrong. Her writing is so easy to read. So then after that, I picked up this book, which I kind of wasn't really sure that I would like this book. Like I think I shared in my last vlog, like I've read Megan Quinn's writing and I just didn't really care for it. I didn't feel like it was for me. Granted, it was a Christmas book that I read, so honestly, I am glad I gave her writing another shot because this book is so good. The banter in this book and the characters, I literally have found myself like giggling and laughing and stuff like multiple times, and I am on page 199, so almost page 200, right pretty much smack dab in the middle. This book is like 459 pages long, so it is a pretty long book, but it's gone by really, really quickly. This is about Riot, and he is a baseball player, and then the main character, I think her name's Marlon, yeah, she pretty much, it shows how they were married and she like wants a divorce, but you don't really know like why she wants a divorce. That's just like how the book starts, and it says it on the back that like she wants a divorce, and the whole book goes back and forth between like when they first met, when he started like breaking down her walls, when they started falling in love, to where they are now, which they're like so distant from each other, but you can still like tell like she's like really in love with him. So you're finding out why she wants a divorce at the same time that Riot is, because she never really says why she wants a divorce. She just says like, you haven't been listening to me, and like she gives you these nuggets throughout the whole book, and he's like picking up on like how he like wasn't probably, you know, the best husband. And it is just really, really good. The banter feels so realistic, the characters feel so realistic, and honestly I feel like because the cover looks like this, I don't know why, I just didn't think that this would be that good of a book. Like, I don't really know why. I think sometimes cartoon covers, I just am like, I don't know. Like this cover, like when I look at this, I think this book's gonna be good. I don't know why, I just like do. And maybe it's the coloring of it, like it's kind of like darker. I don't know, just like this like really bright, colorful book doesn't give like, oh, it's gonna be amazing. I just was like, oh, it's gonna be like a little filler book, like happy. No, this is like really good. So I'm halfway through, but I think I'm gonna take a break from this, and I'm going to do a little bit more reading with another book. I want to start Archer's Voice because I did a poll over on Instagram to see what you guys thought I should start next, and I asked if I should start Addicted to You or if I should start Archer's Voice, and so when you guys said Archer's Voice, so I'm going to read that book next. And I try to go back and forth between like black author and white author and black author. So whenever I finish this book, which I'm halfway through, I will pick up a book by a black author next. I literally cannot wait for the rest of this series to get in. Honestly, Kennedy Ryan can do literally no wrong. This book is also, again, really good, but I think my rating will really depend on how this book ends and how it like wraps up, but I'm really liking it. It is definitely spicy. Like this has some serious spice that I did not expect, but sometimes I feel like the cartoon like character books almost have more spice than like books that don't. So yeah, let's pick a little book together. This is honestly one of my favorite things about our home, so I'm gonna show you, but it is a coffee table that has like a little book spot underneath, and I love keeping books that I want to read down here. So we're gonna pick up Archer's Voice. I've heard so many great things, so I really hope it like lives up to the hype. I like organizing this coffee table by color, and you can see like everything's like white on this side. I do think that I'm gonna buy the next book in this series because I own 2 of them and I don't own the last book, Block Shot. But reading the book by Kennedy Ryan today, I'm like, her writing is so good, like there's no way I'm not gonna like reading one of these books. So I think I'm gonna get the next book in this series, even though I literally haven't read it yet. I feel like a lot of people ask me why I'm constantly like buying books and stuff. Oops, just dropped my keys. But or they'll be like, oh, like you're always buying like books, like you should go to the library or whatever. But like I really love buying books because I always have my friends borrow from me, and I love kind of being this little like, I don't know, my own little library itself. It feels like I like writing in my books or like underlining things. I like dog-earing my pages. I like really making them mine. I don't know, and I feel like it makes the characters feel like so real to me when I can like go back to my bookshelf and read it over again anytime I want, or just like lend it out to a friend. Like I actually have 2 copies of On Rotation. Like I'm just gonna give it to someone just because I can, because I have it, and I have the signed copy and then the not signed copy. So I don't know, it makes me happy to like give things to people and like let people borrow things, like be hospitable. But another thing about books that has been such a bad habit that I've been doing lately is I have been buying the audiobook for books I already own. And so like this book, Untying the Knot, I have been able to read this so fast today because whenever I'm in the shower or whenever I am like doing dishes or something like that, I'll turn on the audiobook, and then whenever I sit down to like actually read, I'll go to like the page that the audiobook ends on, and then I'll pick up from there. So you kind of feel like you never stop reading the book like all day long, and like I finish a lot of books that way. And I feel like whenever I started doing that, that's what has helped me like read more books, because during the day when I'm working, I like don't listen to podcasts or anything anymore. I don't listen to like self-help any like thing. Like I literally am listening to audiobooks while I'm like working during the day, and then I will read on my lunch break or read in the morning when I wake up at 5 a.m. or I will read at night. And I just am like constantly reading throughout the day. So like that's one thing that helps. I will say it's extremely pricey because you're like buying the book and you're buying the audiobook, so it's like double the money. But I also feel like if the money is gonna go to the artist, like not the artist, but go to the author, the person who created the book, like they can take my coin. Like take my coin, because it takes so much work to create a book and make something that people like obsess over and something that like can bring me joy. And I don't know, I also think about people who play like video games or who have like super expensive hobbies like NASCAR, like I don't know, just like random things. And I'm like, my hobby is reading books, and like my mind is expanding by like reading these words, and I'm becoming more knowledgeable instead of like watching like TV all day, or like, I don't know, doing something that maybe isn't as like stimulating for me. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's not that bad of a hobby. I don't do it for every book. I just do it for some. Like if I feel like it's gonna be a really thick book, and I'll still have like a lot to like be able to read on my own. Like if it's, you know, a 300 page book or 200 page book, it doesn't really make sense to get an audiobook because audiobook won't really last as long. Sometimes it will, but usually if I do that, I'll get it for like a really thick book, so then during the workday I can like listen to it, catch up with the reading in the afternoon, on lunch break, or evening, or in the morning. So anyway, that's one thing that's like helped me read more books and just like, I don't know, be really obsessed with all the characters, because I'm like never putting the book down pretty much. I'm like always reading in a way. So anyway, let's head out to the park. Vane is waiting on me so patiently. So let's go over to the park and enjoy the outdoors. But I can literally hear thunder rolling. I don't know if you guys can hear it. There goes a raindrop. It's literally about to pour. I need to put this book over top of my camera because I don't want raindrops to get in there, but I can just feel it. It's just coming. It smells like rain, and I wish I could just stay out in this and it like just sprinkle and not like pour, but it's coming. Oh my god, it's literally about to storm. I love cozy days like this. Now I want to go back and get on the couch and like just hang out there. this because I am like obviously 10 minutes away, but I think I'm gonna keep reading once I'm done. So I will finish the timer, but really I was supposed to get to 8 hours and 53 minutes, and I'm just gonna get to like 9 minutes, I think, just because, like, why not? If like 9's like more even number. I'm so tired. I stayed up so late last night because I was like editing, and I didn't get done with the edit until like midnight, and I always like to have videos up for you guys at 6 a.m. so I was up like literally so like, and then I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. But I think tomorrow I'm going to go to a bookstore. I'm just feeling like bookstore vibes, and it's crazy because I literally just went last weekend, but like the minute I start finishing books, I'm like ready to get more. So I just want to browse, just want to look. I don't want to, you know, maybe get one or two, like we'll see. But it's so funny, like I'll literally read like 5 books and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy 10, like I need that. But I'm gonna give you a little book recap tomorrow of the books that I finished and like what I loved, what I didn't. And yeah, so let's finish the rest of this timer. There's literally 10 minutes left, technically 3 minutes because I was supposed to get to 8 hours and 33 minutes, 53 minutes, but I'm just gonna do 9. And then tomorrow we'll go to a bookstore, and then I'll do a little recap of the books that I read while swapping my screen time for reading. Just got back from the bookstore and I got some books. I'm gonna show you guys what I got. This bookstore was a smaller one. I got 2 books. It was a smaller one, but they had a really good selection. It's in a small town. It's in Verdon. It's called the Sly Fox Bookstore. And I truly didn't really... Oh, there goes an ambulance. I always like to pray whenever an ambulance goes by because you just never know. Oh, I always hope that it's like nothing too bad. But yeah, I always forget. Well, I don't forget, I guess I know, but like I am Black and going to small towns to check out bookstores, like it's a whole new experience because I am always worried about the experience that I'll like receive while I'm at the bookstore. The guy was super nice, but I didn't really like know. When I walked in, I didn't really know what the vibe was gonna be like because I've never been to Verdon, which Verdon, let's see how like what the population is in Verdon. Let's see, population, Verdon, and it's like 30 minutes from me, roughly. So the population here is 3,191 people as of 2021. It's probably gone down because people aren't really moving to small towns these days. They're like moving away from smaller towns. So I wasn't really sure what it would be like. And then once I got there's like no music in there, but he was very chatty, he was super nice. And then a bus of 12 elderly women was dropped off, and he's like, yeah, I knew that they were coming, like they are coming from like the maybe a nursing home or assisted living or something. And then I was like, oh my god, I'm literally in a small town with 13 elderly people, like all have to be over the age of 80. And I was shaking in my boots. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I was shaking in my boots. I was just like, just let me be nice, let me get out of here. Like, I don't know. I just, so yeah, that was kind of a little unnerving, but everyone was nice. You know, I didn't really have any crazy experiences or anything. That's just something that I'm always aware of because I have been to small towns where I have not had good experiences with people or people who own like stores and stuff. And yeah, so that's just something that I always have to think about. And going to Chicago and like bookstore hopping is very different from going to small towns and bookstore hopping because you just really never know. One of the first books I picked up in there was a book about a black woman who murdered an elderly white woman, and I didn't really like read through it, and I was like, okay, like what's the vibe of the store? I don't really know like what the vibe is, but it just happened, I guess, to be like a bestseller or something. It was like a fiction book. And there's like a ton of other books that were in it that were fiction that I knew of. So anyway, got 2 books, and the 2 books that I got, the first one that I got is One of Us is Lying. This is about, it says, pay attention and you might solve this. One Monday afternoon, 5 students at Bayfield High walk into detention. And then Simon, he's the outcast. He's the creator of Bayview High's notorious gossip app. And the people who walk in are Brian, spelled B-R-O-N-W-Y-N. Is that Browen? The brain, he's Yale bound and never breaks a rule. Addie, the beauty, is a picture perfect homecoming princess. Nate, the criminal, is already on probation for dealing. Cooper, the athlete, is the all-star baseball pitcher. And Simon, who's the outcast that I said, he's the creator of Bayville High's notorious gossip app. Only Simon never makes it out of the classroom. Before the end of detention, Simon's dead, and according to investigators, his death isn't an accident. On Monday, he died, but on Tuesday, he planned to post juicy reveals about all 4 of his high profile classmates, which makes all 4 of them suspects in his murder. Or are they just the perfect pasties for a killer who's still on the loose? Everyone has secrets, right? What really matters is how far you would go to protect them. So this one looks really good to me. It looks really easy to read. I'm pretty sure it's YA. Then I got another book that's fiction. I've heard so many people talk about this book. Like, I cannot even explain how many people have talked about this book, and I feel like every reel that I'll make or every video, people are like, get this book. I'm like, okay, I get it. You're like screaming, get this book. I'm gonna get the book. And it's called Anxious People by Friedrich Bachmann. And this is the person who wrote A Man Called Ove, which I think turned into a movie. And this says, looking at real estate isn't usually a life or death situation, but an apartment open house becomes just that when a failed bank robber bursts in and takes a group of 8 strangers hostage. Each of them carries a lifetime of grievances, hurts, secrets, and passions that are ready to boil over. None of them is entirely who they appear to be. In short, they're the worst group of hostages in the world, but as the minutes tick by, they begin to suspect that the criminal mastermind holding them hostage might be more in need of rescuing than they are. As the authorities and media surround the premises, these reluctant allies will reveal surprising truths about themselves and set in motion a chain of events so unexpected that even they can hardly explain what happens next. Anxious People is a ingeniously constructed story about the enduring power of friendship, forgiveness, and hope, the things that save us even in the most anxious of times. So it just looks really good. It says it captures the messy essence of being human, and it's clever and affecting, as likely to make you laugh out loud as it is to make you cry. And that was what the Washington Post said about it. So I'm excited, and this looks like it's a good book club pick. It literally says book club favorites at the bottom with the reader's guide at the end. And I've been really wanting to branch out and not just read not just read I was gonna say fashion and thrillers, or fiction and thrillers, and I ended up saying fashion, but not just read romance and thrillers, and I want to read more fiction. After I read Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is a fiction book, and you guys know that I rated that literally 4.5. So good. And honestly, still I debate, I'm like, was it a 5-star? But my rating is on Goodreads as to how I rate things. I feel like 3 is roughly an average book to me. I think most books are a 3. 2 is like less than average. 1 is like, do not pick up this book. 4 is, it's really, really good. I would recommend. 4.5 is like, it's so close to a 5-star, but not quite there yet. And what makes a book a 5-star to me is if I would read the book again. I feel like there's not very many 5 stars in the world. And I feel like sometimes people will rate their books like, it's great, 5 stars. Like, to me, a 5-star book is like, those not once in a lifetime, but like you don't find them often. You get that 5-star feeling where you feel like so connected to the book that you would read it over the minute that you finish the book, just so you could like glean more from it. That to me is a 5-star. And I just don't know if I would have read Carrie Soto is Back again, and like have that feeling. But anyway, it was a very good book, and that was fiction, and I'm glad I picked it up, but I actually wasn't expecting it to be good. So I want to pick up more books that are not, you know, the same like genre that I normally read. Anyway, let's head back. I might go get lunch or something, and then I want to give you guys a little recap. I cannot talk today, for the books that I read during this little challenge. Finally time to give you my recap of the books that I read. I have been so busy today and I haven't had time to give you a recap, so finally I am. And I read 3 really good books during this challenge. I'll start with the first one, which is Flow. I gave this book 4 stars because I just like really want to eat up this whole series. Like, Kennedy Ryan can truly do no wrong with the way that she writes books. If you want to like see more of my like in-depth review, go over to my Goodreads. But she just writes books that are so like gripping that you feel like the characters are real. And so I literally cannot wait to read the rest of the series. Also, what I like about this book is that it is only a little over 100 pages and you feel so connected to the characters. Like, usually when you read short books, I feel like you just can't get as connected with characters, but with this book you definitely can. There's so many like events that they go to, like they go skinny dipping in the water, and they go to like a fair, they go to the music studio, they like go out to eat. Like, they do so much stuff in such a short span, and it all flows really well. So I really love that. It makes me really excited for the other books. And it also makes me want to read more of her books, because if you could be talented enough to write a like very, very in-depth detailed story where I'm so connected to the characters and it's literally only 112 pages or something like that, then I definitely, 113 pages, but I definitely want to read more of her books. I think I want to read Real next. That's one of her books that everyone raves about. The next book I finished was Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This is my first book by Mia Sheridan and will not be my last. I literally cried reading this book, and it was really towards the end where like there were times I got super emotional with this book, but the ending, it just like got me, and it's such a sweet story. Like, I mean, this is one of those that I feel like you don't come around really often. And I just feel like it's so heartwarming and a book that I would just, I don't know, literally can't get over. So much happened in this book that I don't know, it's just so beautiful. Such a good book, and I rated this one 4.5 stars. So good. It was just like a really sweet story. The only thing that I think threw me off a bit was I feel like some of the things in this book are a little bit dated, and I don't know when this book was written, so maybe it was written recently and it's just like needs to be updated. But like the way that the main character would speak about, I can't even really say it without spoiling it, but I just feel like some of the things in the book were a little bit dated. So that's the only thing that like kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. And then the last book that I finished was Untying the Knot by Megan Quinn. Now this book was over 500 pages long. This book was almost 400 pages long. So I feel like reading 3 books, but 2 really thick ones. Obviously this one was definitely smaller, but I feel like that's a really good amount for 8 hours, especially considering some of it was on audiobook. I listened to some of this on audiobook because during the work hours, I obviously am working and can't like read the whole book, but this is a really good book. I really was super surprised by how connected I was to this book. I think the cover really is what has thrown me off, because this just doesn't look like something that you would like just, you know, fall in love with. And I don't know, I really like the characters, and it's a book I feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like it's a book that is great if you want to read about marriage. I haven't read a lot of books about marriage, and this one I feel like accurately depicts how connected you become to the person you marry, and I feel like it also accurately depicts how hard it would be to let them go if you feel like you need to. So yeah, really like this book. I will say it was way spicier than I expected, like way spicier. Like, I mean, this is some serious spice. So I wish that the spice was toned down a bit, but it wasn't so much where there wasn't a storyline. Like, there definitely was a storyline. It just, like, the spice was a lot. Like, the scenes that they did have were a lot. So yeah, I rated this a 3.5, and I feel like that's a really good rating for this book, because honestly it just threw me for a loop. I did not expect to love this as much as I did. So yeah, I feel like we have a lot of good high ratings. We have a 3.5 star, a 4 star, and a 4.5 star, which is very rare for me. So maybe I need to do more challenges like this where I read for 8 hours straight, or I guess 9 hours, because it's technically 8 hours and 53 minutes, and swap my screen time for reading, because I really dove into these books. So if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, and tell me what books you're reading. I love getting more recs. Every time that I ask you guys what you're reading, you guys always give me the best recs. And some of these books, like Archer's Voice is a really popular one. This has been pretty popular. I feel like when I read popular books, sometimes I'm actually surprised. So I like hearing you guys' recs and adding them to my TBR. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.